I'm Jen from Tea Leaves and Tweed, and welcome to Tea in the Garden. Today I'm doing something a little bit different, and I'm starting another themed tea series. This week I'm going to start my historical tea series, and today's historical tea is going to be Tea with Isabella Beeton. I chose Isabella Beeton because she is the author of a seminal work on housekeeping for the Victorian woman, and she has a very lovely little section about tea and the preparation of tea, and refers to it as the drink that delights but does not intoxicate. So I thought to start off my historical tea series, I would have tea with Isabella Beeton. For my brewing setup, I'm brewing in a porcelain teapot, and Beeton provides a particular recipe for blending black and green teas. So I'm going to try her blended black and green tea. Now she suggests 1 teaspoon for each person, plus 1 for the pot, which is a very classic tea ratio. And for her blend, she recommends a ratio of 4 parts black tea to 1 part green tea. Now I measured this pot and it holds 4 of my teacups. So this would be a teapot for 4 people, or 4 cups of tea. So that would be 5 spoonfuls. So I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon of my green tea. And then 4 teaspoons of my black tea. And I'm using Chinese teas for both of these. I'm using the classic Laoshan green tea from Yunnan Sourcing for my green tea, and I'm using a Yunnan black tea from Storm King Teas for my black tea. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, Beeton recommends using freshly boiled water, so I'm going to go and get my kettle. So I've got my freshly boiled kettle, and I've also brought a small dish of baking soda, and that I'll tell you about a little later. So first, she recommends pouring about a cup or so of water onto the tea leaves and letting them steep for 5 to 10 minutes, which is an awfully long time even for Western style tea for me. So I'm going to let that steep, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I brought the baking soda, or the bicarbonate soda as Beeton calls it. She says that for places with hard water, that you can add a little bit of carbonate soda to soften the water, although she doesn't recommend doing this, and definitely doesn't recommend using too much because it can give the water a soapy taste. However, I have also heard of this trick being used to reduce the bitterness of Southern style sweet tea. So if this tea is just terribly bitter for me, I can try adding a little bit of baking soda and see if it makes it better. So now we still have several more minutes that our tea needs to steep according to Beeton's recipe. So I will meet you back here when the tea has steeped. So now it has been about 5 minutes of steeping time. So I'm going to fill the pot the rest of the way with hot water. And serve the tea. Because this little teapot does not have a strainer, I will use an overcup strainer in a very old-fashioned way. It's interesting because it's not a thick black cup of tea like I would expect for having steeped for so long. It's actually a rather pleasant red color. It smells delicious. It's a very interesting cup of tea. The method of steeping it in half the water and then adding water to the end definitely reduces the unpleasant bitterness that can happen when you steep tea for too long. I don't know that I necessarily taste the green tea, but there is a somewhat pleasant vegetal brightness for a cup of black tea. And of course, this Yunnan black tea is usually quite malty and chocolatey and deep. So I think perhaps the green tea brightens it up a bit. And I do not think I need to use my baking soda because this tea is not unpleasantly bitter. So there you have it, an historical tea recipe from Isabella Beeton's book on household management. I hope you'll join me again for a future tea session, and if you have suggestions on historical tea writings you'd like me to explore in the future, please leave a comment below. Thanks.